Noah, in the town of Blackridge Hollow, remembered when the knife first appeared. It was already there, locked inside a dusty glass case in a forgotten antique shop at the very edge of the street. The blade was old, slightly curved, and always looked wet, as if it had just been washed. No matter how many years passed, there was never any rust on it. People in town used to say the knife didn't belong to anyone. It only waited. Evan found it on a rainy evening. He was just trying to take shelter from the downpour inside the old shop. The owner was long gone, all the lights were off, but strangely, the door was unlocked. The moment Evan stepped inside, the air felt colder, much colder than the rain-soaked street he had just left. His eyes were drawn immediately to the glass case in the center of the room. A small hand-carved wooden sign beneath it had two simple words: "Do not touch." Evan laughed quietly to himself. It was probably just an old trick to scare off potential thieves, or maybe to make some mundane object seem more interesting than it was. He was just a curious passerby, not a customer. What harm could it do? He reached out and lifted the unlocked lid of the case. The moment his fingers touched the smooth, cool handle of the knife, the furious rain outside stopped. Just like that. The silence that followed felt heavy, unnatural, wrong. The knife in his hand felt warm, almost as if it were alive, humming with a faint energy. And then a tidal wave of memories crashed over Evan. Not good memories. He suddenly remembered every bad thought he had ever had, every fleeting moment of anger, every dark impulse he'd ever pushed away. That night, he dreamed of standing in a pitch-black room, holding the knife, while a disembodied voice whispered his name, again and again. The next morning, Evan woke up with a jolt and noticed something incredibly strange. The knife was lying on the nightstand beside his bed. He had absolutely no memory of bringing it home. He remembered leaving the shop, but the knife, it was a blur. A sense of dread washed over him. He had to get rid of it. He took the knife, wrapped it in an old cloth, and threw it into the dumpster behind his apartment building. When he got back inside, there it was, lying on his kitchen counter. He tried again, this time burying it in his backyard. When he turned his back to walk away, he stumbled over something. It was the knife, resting on the grass, clean and gleaming. At work, Evan became easily irritated. Small noises, like a pen clicking or someone tapping their foot, felt unbearable, like nails on a chalkboard. That evening, while chopping vegetables for dinner, he wasn't paying attention and accidentally cut his finger. A drop of blood welled up and fell onto the blade. In a blink, the knife drank the blood, leaving the metal spotless, as if it had never been touched. From that night on, Evan began hearing whispers whenever he held it. They weren't commands. Not exactly. They're even more like suggestions. Confirmations of his own darkest feelings. The whispers told him who was lying to him at work. They pointed out who was pretending to be his friend. They whispered about who, in Evan's own mind, deserved pain. The knife simply agreed with the anger already brewing inside him. When the first person in Blackridge Hollow disappeared, a co-worker Evan had always despised, Evan stopped sleeping. He'd lie awake all night, staring at the ceiling, the knife resting on his chest, warm and comforting. When the second body was found, a neighbor who always played his music too loud, Evan stopped fighting the thoughts. He stopped trying to push them away. The knife never forced him to do anything. It was a silent partner. It only agreed with him, validating his rage, telling him he was right to feel the way he did. It made his anger feel justified. One night, Evan was just staring at his own reflection in the blade's unnervingly clean surface, and he saw his reflection smile. It was cold, cruel smile, and it sent a shock through his entire body, because he wasn't smiling at all. His own face was a mask of exhaustion and horror. That was when he finally understood the terrible truth. The knife did not curse people. It didn't possess them or control them. It simply revealed them. 2. It peeled back the layers of civility and social grace until only the raw, ugly truth of a person's heart was left. The police never found Evan. He vanished as completely as his victims. About a month later, the forgotten antique shop at the edge of the street reopened, looking exactly as it always had. Always looking wet. Waiting for the next hand to reach out, believing it was only a knife. If this story sent chills down your spine, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more true horror stories. Thanks for watching.